not looking for, I didn't have money. He said, I didn't have comfortable scenario where I was looking that I can bring this molecule from phase 1 to phase 3. There were a lot of people willing to fund me, but we don't have that clinical trial expertise, and let's accept that. So that gives me a reforming feeling that, it's yet a long way for us to actually see a molecule which has been discovered, developed, and has reached a global marketplace where, you've created the vibe like, Lipitor, Yeah?
Yeah, just to add to that, Vishal, if I may.
Sure.
You're right. The thing is, even on nano side, I would rather say that, yes, it is too early. Plus, we must look at how it pans out and what happens, and even learn if there is a slight, slip from the expectation.
Sure.
Because that will build on, and someday then the final blockbuster thing can be achieved.
Sure. Thank you.
You gave the example of a clinical CRO development. My question is, if there is a money-making proposition in non-clinical area, would you consider that also for CRO?
Yeah, I mean, a portfolio, but we invest in Asia out of an Asia-focused fund, and we are investors in a preclinical CRO called Crown Bio in China. So happy to invest in, on the preclinical side as well, absolutely. The only thing is, I guess all of the people on the preclinical side know that India has this thing about not allowing primate studies, and that in some ways, kind of puts us at a disadvantage at times. Yeah.
And most of the figures that I can recollect talks about dollars, millions. We don't talk millions here. It is either lakhs or crores, unless, I am in a time wrap. Now, second part to it. I'll make a couple of observations and then make the question flow. And I was very impressed by our colleagues from Singapore who say that they are evaluating management also, very good about it, and that's the way to go. But today, even IMS doesn't give you a vaccine audit properly, and they acknowledge the fact. There is no way to gauge the market. And if, not only in forums like this, even in World Vaccine Congress in Singapore, where I participated as a speaker, everyone talks about preclinical, at best clinical, and leaving it to the market. After that, what happens? Today, if JE as a candidate is, suppose, put up on the table for capital participation, maybe some of you would be interested in that. But if we come to India, do we know what are the prospects? Will we lean on the public market to be successful? Would we drive the private market? Are some studies done on that? Why I'm raising this appropriately here? Because when the stalwarts of the funding agencies get together, they should also recognize the fact that unless you have strong commercial and marketing skills, it is just half the story. So I leave my observation at that and probably invite one of the takes. Probably Singapore sounds glamorous, so Anand may like to comment on this.
Yeah, before Anand does that, I'd just like to, that's why we actually put those numbers in millions and billions. I hope I have answered your question on that front. Yeah. Over to Anand now.
See, I'll share with you one of our companies in India, Molecular Connections. When they first came to us, it was a two-man, just a scientist from Singapore and an entrepreneur by name Jignesh, who's from Bangalore. Today, the staff strength of Molecular Connections is 750 people. They're spread across in multiple countries. We have we own 1/3 of that company. The thing is, what I would like to highlight here is, it all depends on the ability to get the right kind of people to drive commercial reality and to drive commercial translation. Often, I've actually invested in several companies where the founder is a Nobel laureate. And wherever there's a Nobel laureate, I have lost money. Except one Nobel laureate who actually made me, gave me a 3x return. That's Iden Pharmaceuticals that got acquired by Pfizer for $350 million. But most of them. So what I'm trying to say is that your idea, if it is high-tech, doesn't mean that you'll make money. The people who make money from a technology are basically the management team. And so that's why now we are implementing what is called as a catalyst for pre-seed fund, which is a CAPS model, whereby we are inviting business advisors to come and interact with scientists at the laboratory
I'll have to stop
level.
you here. Maybe you could have
At the laboratory level to do public-private partnership. Thank you.
See, I'm Dr. Sridhar for proposals and the quality of the entrepreneurs. But I wanted to know what is the quality of the VCs, the limited partners. In Silicon Valley, where there is real tech innovation, most of the GPs are serial entrepreneurs who've been through the process, know what it takes to build a company, take all the risk. Basically, they are risk takers. But unfortunately, in an Indian scenario, what we see are mostly bankers turning into VCs, are expats who have nothing else to come out but to join something and do something here. So let us talk about the quality. See, if you are a good VC, if you are a real tech guy, you can create companies out of India. You can create Fortune 500 companies out of India. That is a big challenge, and I think a lot of thought is made about what needs to bridge the gap. But it's always the chicken and egg story. Good entrepreneurs go and build good companies, and then they become VCs.
Yeah, I'll take that question first. You see, my colleague, who's basically a successful investor.
I have interacted with Sunny earlier.
I think I should ask Rajesh to answer this. Yeah.
So maybe I think the trend
but
is
he is
changing.
not a risk taker, as seen from the investments he has made, though he has the basic thing, but
Rajesh
somewhere
can do
he
his
is
job
lacking
best,
that potential to make a risk-taking investment from himself, because he's not been an entrepreneur. I know him, what his background is all about, but he represents a very good company. It's a public
Let
liquidity
other
company.
people benefit from his talk right now. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have no comments.
Okay. Yeah.
From that to that will be useful to understand. Anybody can
Sunny,
answer.
you want to take this question?
Can you just repeat what did you say?
Buying a service company versus product company, from a P perspective,
Buying or investing?
buying a stake in
More
a
of investment, yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
A bioproduct company comes to you with the idea that they want to develop either a vaccine or a diagnostic kit or something like that, versus a company who wants to get into bioservices. So how does your evaluation criteria changes when you are thinking to invest in it? And then if you really decide to invest, do you really help in business development? I mean, developing the market for the company as well.
The criteria would depend on what the product is and what the product is looking to target, or what the service is and what the service is looking to target. So I think we went through in the first question here the basic elements in terms of management team, differentiated model, competitive barriers. Those things are common across different businesses. So I think we're open to both models, as I also mentioned earlier, both services and products. We don't have a bias against any one of those. We fund both models across the world. There was one more part to your question that I'm missing. Sorry, was there something else?
Do you also help in market development for the company once you invest in them?
Sure. So, we manage about 6 billion in capital, as I mentioned previously. We're split across about 2.5 billion on the public side and about 3.5 billion on the private side. And we touch everyone from, a couple guys spinning out of Harvard all the way through the Pfizers of the world. So again, we do help our companies by virtue of our connections and touching almost every aspect of healthcare across the world. Yes.
I hope that answers your question, Vibhav. Okay. If there are no other questions, so I'd like to thank my panelists for doing a wonderful job. And I think we've closed before 3, the stipulated time. So I think that's like a good thing. And I'll also like to thank all the audience, and you've been wonderful audience. And so thank you so much. I hope you found the session useful. And panelists are available. Some of them are available post the discussion. So you can have one-to-one. Thank you.